Welcome to Ralph React, no cap, just vibe, real talk.
On the 1st of October 2025, a video was uploaded to the TikTok account Mason MP4, showing a cemetery somewhere in France. The description revealed a chilling backstory though. After his mother's death, the uploader had inherited a family home he never knew existed. But this inheritance came with a cryptic and terrifying warning from his mother's final letter. Get rid of it as soon as possible. Ignoring this warning, he decided to travel to the countryside to see the house for himself and document his entire experience on social media. It's a decision that would lead him down a path to uncovering his family's sinister history, turning his life into a living nightmare. He started asking himself the all-important question: why did his mum hide this property from him for so long? Why did she wait until after she had passed away to let him know about it? What on earth is wrong with the place? These were all questions he set out to find the answers to. But as he started his investigation, he immediately knew that something just wasn't right. As he tiptoed through the old mansion, he knew he was out of his depth. It looked like it had been abandoned. There was a horrible, musty smell in there, and he could hear scratches coming from the upper levels. But the creepiest thing was the unusual number of all different types of locks holding the windows closed. After a while, it started getting dark, but he couldn't figure out how to switch the electricity on. He had been in the house for a few hours at this point, and he had a few drinks whilst he was exploring. It was late, and he was tipsy, so he decided to stay the night. But when he laid down his sleeping bag, he kept hearing something strange echoing through the house.
You heard that? It's like a screeching door.
He just put it down to the house being old, so he managed to shake it off and fall asleep. But he did not get much shut-eye, because a few hours later, he was awoken by something that scared him straight out of his skin.
Sound like a dog.
He's in the middle of nowhere surrounded by trees, so he put the screaming down to a fox or some other animal. But he still felt off about it, so he put the footage through some editing software and enhanced the clip, which is when he realized that his gut feeling was right. A pair of bright circular lights were visible quite close to the house. Could they be the eyes of an animal, or the eyes of something much worse? After managing to
An
calm
alien.
down, he made it to morning and tried to find a way to switch on the electricity. He was able to locate the board and get it all running. But while he was rooting around the house, he found something that left him with even more questions. He posted a video holding a strange statue, asking anyone who might know what it could be, and commenters were soon to tell him that it looked like some form of voodoo doll. Was his mother involved in some kind of occult practice? Could that be the reason she kept the house a big secret?
That's on
After
the
he found the
islands.
statue, The strange happenings continued to get worse. Even during the day when he would visit the house, he could hear more strange noises floating in from the woods. He was still trying to brush it off as animals and old house noises, but soon he could no longer deny it. There was something seriously spooky about this house.
What is that? Oh.
A few skeptical commenters assumed that the door could be closing by itself, so he filmed another video trying to prove there were no strings, only to catch something even crazier.
What?
He decided after this happened that he had seen enough, so he beelined it straight to his car, which in true horror film style broke down the second he tried to leave. He realized that there was a secret to be uncovered here, so he reluctantly prized himself out of the driver's seat and went to explore the rest of the property. It's a huge area, and he was able to find some other buildings that had become home to a whole load of bats and cobwebs. But inside one of the derelict buildings on the property lay a box full of secrets. It was full of old photographs and newspapers, and while he wasn't able to piece it all together quite yet, he was able to get the gist. One of his ancestors had worked in Africa and loaded a bunch of stuff from their time there into the box as a keepsake. Could it all be something to do with the strange voodoo doll? With his interest piqued, he carried on searching for clues about the history of the property. After a while, he was able to get his hands on something even more sinister. Alongside strange portraits, he found a book titled Voodoo, Magic or Religion, as well as some trophies mounted to the walls. According to his research, the trophies hailed from Africa, brought back by his ancestor who had worked there as a doctor in the 1930s. He felt he had discovered enough clues for one day, which was when he remembered that his car had broken down. His actual home was miles away from the inherited property, so he had no choice but to head back inside and stay for another night. But whatever was taunting him earlier on wasn't happy with his investigation.
I'll be moving ASAP.
And that isn't even the creepiest thing that happened with that radio. Check out this other clip he was able to catch of it playing. He says that the radio would randomly turn itself on when he would leave it inside the room with the items he found. And while you can get a radio to connect to whatever channel or frequency you want, why would there be a radio station playing static with a creepy laugh in the background?
I heard it.
Something had been unearthed at this point, and with no mechanic nearby to help with his car, this guy had to stay another night. He was completely unable to sleep, hearing things echoing all throughout the house, and seeing the trophies fall to the floor for no apparent reason. Whatever it was that he was dealing with was becoming stronger by the minute, and the activity began trickling out of the other room and into his.
Uh-oh.
How could the radio have turned on just meters away from him? Those types of radios don't tend to switch on by themselves, but it came on whilst he was nowhere near it, and there is no one hidden in the room. He yet again tried going back to sleep after switching it off, but his room was slowly becoming the paranormal hotspot.
That's crazy. He ran out of there. Yeah, I'll be sleeping right in the car.
Not
That's
only
it
do
for me.
coat hangers move by themselves, his camera can't seem to focus on anything when it was working perfectly fine before. He ran to his car in a blind hope that it might have repaired itself. He couldn't stand to spend one more night in the house, but when he went out to check, he noticed something that made every hair on his body stand on end. Someone had placed the voodoo doll on the bonnet of his car, watching him through the windscreen. He noped right out of that situation and waited nervously elsewhere for a mechanic to arrive. But when he did, he had bad news. He could not diagnose a single thing. It had all the correct wiring, the battery was fully functioning, and all levels were good. The only issue was that it had 2 flat tires, but for the life of the guy, he could not figure out how he could have gotten them. That was until he checked around the area he first drove in. He left a comment on this video, explaining that hidden underneath the leaves at the entrance were spike traps. Why would someone have trapped the entrance? Wondering if it could be connected to the strange history of the house, he went back in to explore further. He ended up finding more photos in his ancestor's bedroom, showing an even deeper connection with voodoo practices, and the more he discovered, the angrier the entity inside the house got with him. When he tried to sleep that night, this happened.
It's like something that's
The
in there.
noise actually led him to more voodoo material that was hidden away. He began sifting through the items and books to try and see if there was something someone wanted him to see, until he heard something that sent a chill down his spine.
I mean, all those books themselves is creepy.
The distinctive sound of footsteps sounded outside the
But
room.
look what they were reading.
Thinking he was dealing with an intruder, he ran after the noise,
Messing
which is
with
when he
that
saw
stuff.
this.
Did he buy the house or he reading those? Do you know about those?
A figure had darted out of the open door and back into the trees. The creepiest thing, the door was open and unlocked while the guy was in bed. Surely he would have locked and bolted it. Who or what could have opened it? Worried someone else might have broken in, he did a sweep of every room to check that no one was inside. But during his investigation, he didn't find people. Instead, he found teeth scattered under one of the beds. Could these be something to do with the intruder who was inside, or remnants of a longer-lasting voodoo curse? Either way, he knew at this point that he was in danger, so he stayed awake in the hopes of warding off any more intruders, only to realize that the horror had already fully made its way inside.
Right next to you, buddy.
He didn't seem too put off by the chair moving by itself, but it must have unnerved him enough because straight afterwards, he was setting up cameras around the house. He hoped that by using some good quality surveillance cameras, he would be able to finally figure out what was tormenting him, so he hooked them up around the place. In all of the areas, he had experienced something strange. 3 cameras later, he was ready to sit back and watch what happened, only to jump straight back out of his seat when this happened. Soon after this, he was met with even more strangeness. Not only was the mug moving by itself, just like before with the moving coat hangers, his camera refused to focus properly. He didn't need any more motivation to get the hell out of there. He darted down the stairs and out of the car, but when he turned around to hazard going back in, he saw this.
Parents of children who play Roblox. If your child was sexually exploited, abused, or pressured to...
A dark figure peeking at him through the curtains of the room he was staying in. Thinking purely of survival, he got in his car and locked it, hoping for everything to blow over. Obviously, it didn't, because this happened in the middle of the night.
Now it's in the car.
He wasn't even safe inside his own vehicle. Something clearly wanted to hurt him. He slept there all night. Luckily, that morning, the mechanic came back to tow his car to the garage. But while that meant his car was soon to be fixed, it also meant that he had no safe room for the foreseeable future, so back into the house he went, waiting for his escape vehicle to return in working order. But he didn't get any time to rest, because that night, one of the outdoor cameras picked up something petrifying. A figure slowly closes in on the house. He was able to get a hold of the footage and enhance it for a better look, showing what looked to be a humanoid figure walking with some sort of snout. Could it be a real person, or some horrible demonic entity, or both? There was barely any time to think, because the camera caught footage of the figure getting closer.
Probably a skinwalker.
It's faint, but you can see the silhouette slowly moving around the front of the house. The guy soon realized that whatever it was, it must have had something to do with a note in his mother's letter, telling him to get rid of the property as soon as he could. Could this figure be something to do with the voodoo paraphernalia his ancestor had brought back in the 30s? Whatever it could be, there's one thing we all know. He cannot let that figure reach the house. But he was powerless, and it just kept getting closer. It began darting to and fro, dancing for the cameras, like it knew they were there. It was at this point that the activity inside the house picked up as well. His hidden cameras were catching paranormal events throughout the whole building. And soon, he was greeted with a full frontal shot of one of the entities inside the building.
Wow. That was deep.
What the hell is that? The disembodied figure drifts from room to room, Could it be that the figure from outside had finally managed to get into the house? Or is this a different entity, ready to strike? He put up another camera inside the rooms it was approaching, which was when he realized that they might hold some kind of grudge.
The question is, why have he has not moved? I would have been moved ASAP. It's probably from a person I used to live there, and he's probably unalive. Now he's in us.
It knocked only one portrait over. A portrait of the guy's ancestor, shattering the glass. Could they have somehow brought back a curse when collecting the items? Is that why there seemed to be so many things swarming the house? That corridor remained a hotspot, with his most recent clip showing this. Are the books stacked behind that door more clues to the history of the place? Why is the house trying to lead him to the answers? This video is the last one shared at the time we finished working on this documentary. So make sure to keep up to date with his TikTok account, Mason.mp4, to see how the rest of this terrifying story unfolds. And if you enjoy this style of deep dives through the latest paranormal footage captured across the world, please make sure you subscribe to both our channels.